128 to 109 to Portland in a game where they led at halftime. The Nuggets' second half was absolutely abysmal in pretty much every way. Obviously, no Nikola Jokic again tonight, as the Nuggets are now 1-2 on this 4-game road trip, all 3 games so far without Nikola Jokic. We're getting a little bit more information on Joker. They were talking about it on the broadcast tonight. He's got a left ankle impingement. Basically, he's got a bad sprained ankle. And this is something that has been bothering him since the Celtics game in Boston. What was that, about a month or so ago now? So Nikola Jokic has been playing through not only that, but he's had a shoulder problem, he's had an elbow problem. This is on this show. In fact, the game just ended 128 to 109. Portland gets the win. I think the Nuggets are going to be fine. I really do. They're in a bad situation right now, obviously, without the best player on the planet being off for this road trip so far. We'll see if Joker plays in Houston. I hope he does not, because I want Nikola Jokic as rested and as healthy as possible for the playoffs. Now, am I sitting here saying to not play Nikola Jokic the rest of the regular season? Not necessarily. If he's ready to come back and good to go, then fine, bring him back. But give Nikola Jokic as much time as he needs. And again, I've been talking about this all season long. I'd rather have Nikola Jokic and the rest of the team at 100%, or as close to 100% as they possibly can be heading into the playoffs. And if that means they fall to the 5 or the 6 seed, so be it. Okay? Because I'm telling you, I'd rather have this team be the 5 or the 6 seed and as healthy and as rested as they possibly can be going into the playoffs. I think that would benefit this team more than getting the 2 or the 3 seed. I really do. And Houston beat Miami tonight. The Grizzlies are kind of in a mini funk right now. They're actually going to lose, it looks like, to the LA Clippers. They're down 108 to 94 with about just under 8 minutes to go in the fourth. It's now 109-94 LA. So the Grizzlies are definitely sort of fading here down the stretch. But if we look at the conference standings, the Nuggets are technically, well, they're going to fall back to the 4 seed because the ESPN standings haven't updated yet. They're going to be 44-27 on the year. The LA Lakers are 43-26, so they will fall back to the 4 seed. Memphis is going to lose, it looks like, so they'll be firmly in that 4 seed for now. And I'm telling you, this is a rough stretch for Denver, just as far as the schedule goes. I mean, let alone all of the injuries this team's had to deal with. And look, we talked about this after the All-Star break. That 9-game winning streak right around the All-Star break was probably the easiest portion of the schedule this year for the Denver Nuggets. And these last 26 games post All-Star break are a tough, daunting schedule for the Denver Nuggets. But look, I like it because I think this is good for them to really get tested down the stretch here heading into the playoffs. I'd much rather have a situation like this where their schedule is one of the toughest in the NBA heading into the postseason versus having a more easy, laid-back schedule down the stretch. I think that teams can really benefit from situations like that. But just getting into the game tonight, the offensive rebounds for Portland, I mean, that was absolutely insane. I don't remember seeing a game like that in quite some time from the Denver Nuggets, where they were allowing so many second chance points to the Portland Trailblazers. In fact, if we just look at the rebound total, it was 38-31 Portland. I mean, a fairly large discrepancy, nothing crazy, but 15 offensive rebounds for the Trailblazers. And at one point, they had 26 points, I believe, 23 or 26 points off those second chance points. You're never going to win basketball games like that. And, you don't have your 7-foot center out there. I get it. But can somebody on the Nuggets coaching staff tell these guys to box out? I mean, nobody was boxing out tonight for the Nuggets. I just really, I don't remember ever seeing a Nuggets game over the last decade quite like we saw tonight, with the amount not only of second chance points, but how many and ones did the Portland Trailblazers get in tonight's game? There had to be at least like 10. I mean, it was absolutely insane. And the Nuggets got crushed in the paint, 64-42 in the painted area. And again, I get it. They don't have Nikola Jokic. That's obviously going to benefit the other team as far as the painted area goes. But man, oh man. I mean, it's not like the Nuggets don't have any size out there. I mean, Michael Porter Jr. is 6'10". Aaron Gordon's like 6'9". Peyton Watson's a big, lanky, tall dude. I mean, they've got some size out there. But I thought technically tonight they were very off. And they went to the zone defense too, which I was surprised Malone didn't try to get out of that once it was stopped working. But they kind of just stayed in that zone all night, which was interesting. That could be another effect of not having your big 7-foot center in there. But that was just a horribly executed second half of basketball from the Denver Nuggets. I mean, they had the lead at halftime. They had a 5-point lead at halftime. It was 59-54. Pretty good first half for the Nuggets. Excellent start to the game. They got up to a 15-6 start. Did the Denver Nuggets. Russell Westbrook had a couple of really nice early assists. Aaron Gordon got to the free throw line 6 times. I mean, it took 6 free throw attempts in the first 3.5 minutes of this game. Hit 5 of them. And the Nuggets started the game 6 of 6 shooting from the field. So this was what was so weird too, is, the Nuggets have, what's really been crushing them lately is their poor starts to games. Tonight was the exact opposite. They got off to a great start, and then the second half, they just absolutely collapsed and fell apart. So Jamal Murray was back tonight. I mean, look, I get it. Nikola Jokic is that important to the Denver Nuggets, but Jamal definitely looked a little rusty. Michael Porter Jr., man, he is having a rough go. Really rough go for MPJ. What did he shoot tonight? He was 5 of 10 from the field, 3 of 7 from beyond the arc. Not horrible shooting numbers, but the problem for Michael is you got to shoot more. Especially when Nikola Jokic is not out there, Michael Porter Jr. needs to take more of a command over the offense and a more assertiveness, if you will, into the Nuggets offense when Nikola Jokic is not out there. And I'm just not seeing that from Michael Porter Jr. He just looks still like he is really fighting his confidence right now. I mean, he was a -20. That led the team as far as plus minus goes in the negative way. I thought his defense was pretty horrendous tonight as well. Again, as much as it pains me to say this, I really do think that Michael Porter Jr. at this point in his career just sort of is who he is. I don't see him really getting to that next level, unfortunately. Now, look, he's in a rough stretch right now. I don't think he's as bad as he's been playing over the last couple of weeks, just overall as a player. He can be a better player because we've seen it, but he's got to get things turned around quick. And he better get things turned around before the playoffs start, because the Nuggets cannot survive in the playoffs with Michael Porter Jr. taking 10 field goal attempts and being a -20. 17 points, a little under his season average, but Michael should be averaging 22 to 24 points a game right now with Nikola Jokic out. I mean, that really should be sort of his high watermark or low watermark, if you will. And I'm just not seeing it from Michael Porter Jr. He just doesn't look right. I mean, I think he's healthy. He looks healthy. Knock on wood. I mean, that's great. He's been available at least. But his confidence, I'm telling you, is just, it seems like it is gone right now. And can he get it back? We will see. But from what I've been seeing from MPJ over the last couple of weeks, he is really, really struggling with his confidence, being assertive, being aggressive. He's not getting to the rim as much as he is. And when Michael does drive to the rim, I was thinking about this tonight. He looks so uncomfortable driving to the rim. I mean, like every drive to the basket tonight for Michael was very awkward looking. And I don't know what the fix is for him personally. Maybe he's just kind of got to shoot his way out of this. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the coaching staff can draw up more plays for him out of timeouts, or maybe they can try to get him going earlier on in games. That's another thing that they're missing without Nikola Jokic, which is something that I think is pretty underrated about Joker. His ability to get guys going early in games. Now, sometimes Nikola knows he has to score big in certain games, and he'll just be a scorer pretty much right off the bat. But I would say for the most part, Nikola does a great job of getting his teammates involved early, and I think he does that for a specific reason. I think he's doing that to have his guys see the ball go through the hoop early on in games and build their confidence up at the start of games. And that's just something that's missing right now. Now, granted, I thought Russell Westbrook actually was trying to do that a little bit early on in this game, and it was working to a degree, but Russ just turned the ball over way too many times. Russell Westbrook had 9 turnovers tonight. Again, it's just the same issues popping up for the Denver Nuggets. Turnovers, really just poor shooting, poor perimeter defense. It's the same issues that continue to pop up for the Denver Nuggets. And again, Michael Porter Jr. he seems like he's lost all his confidence right now. All right, let's welcome in our guy, KJ Granderson. KJ, thank you for the show. Just Nuggets lose to the Blazers, 128-109. They had a 5-point halftime lead, completely fell apart in the second half. Do the Nuggets know how to box out on the defensive end? Do they know how to do that, KJ? What the hell was that?
Tonight, listen, we learned that they don't know how to do a lot of things, and that's what's frustrating about the Nuggets. They don't know how to box out. They're lacking effort. They're lacking energy. They're lacking toughness. They're lacking the desire to want to get the 50-50 balls. Like, it's everything, man. And
Zeke Naji in that, what was it, third or fourth quarter, loose ball. Why isn't he diving on that? Like, he pulled a Cam Newton in Super Bowl 50. That's exactly what I thought of. Like, dude, come on, man. Like, that's something where you gotta wonder if Malone is like pissed off about that, because you got Christian Brown diving for loose balls out there. Hell, Jamal was fighting for loose balls, and Zeke Naji, it's right there in front of him, and he just stands there. What the hell is that? And this is a guy that's fighting for a chance to be in the rotation in the playoffs. He's not going to get in the rotation in the playoffs with plays like that.
No, not at all, man. And here's the frustrating part. Zeke has a good game here and there, and I think it psychs us out mentally, where we're like, okay, that's the Zeke. That's the first round pick we've been looking for. That's who we drafted. And the truth is, look, man, he is who he is. That's just what it is. So let's put all of that aside, right? Let's get into the real issue here when it comes to the Denver Nuggets. Why, with less than 15 games left in the regular season, do the Nuggets look like they don't have an identity without Nikola Jokic?
Well, because they never had an identity without Nikola Jokic. I mean, this has been a theme of the Nuggets for years and years and years now. When Nikola Jokic isn't in the game, they don't know how to run the offense. And I think part of the problem is a lot of the times they try to run the same style of offense, that they run with Nikola Jokic as the de facto point center, but it just doesn't work when you don't have the big fella in there.
Right.
So I don't know, man. Like, this is something that I will criticize the coaching staff a little bit. They've got to figure out different ways to win games when you can't run an offense through Nikola Jokic. They've got to be able to adapt and adjust when he's not in there. And they simply just have not figured that out yet.
They haven't. And the thing that I continue to struggle with is the answer should be easy. That is Jamal Murray who steps up when Nicola's out. But tonight he had a little bit of the MPJ effect where it was like he was good in spurts, but he could never put it all together. And I can't make sense of why this team, when they know what to do to win, they just refuse to do it. Like you said, it's the simple things. It's boxing out, diving on the floor, and then offensively, Russell Westbrook was doing a great job of being aggressive in the first half. Why did we go away from that?
Oh, because they kept turning the ball over.
Well, sure, but in the third quarter, they only had 4 points in the paint.
Right.
So what are we doing?
Yeah, they got crushed in the paint tonight. They got crushed. And by the way, how many and ones did the Blazers have tonight? At least 10? At least?
At least.
Holy cow. So that's another kind of ticky-tack thing that's been plaguing this team. Blow-bys and just bad fouls when they don't need to. It's like if the guy gets by you and he's going to score anyways, just let him score. Like, what do you that's an extra 8 to 10 points that they gave up tonight just on and ones.
No, I mean, agree. And that issue alone, I think, is really what plagues the Nuggets is they struggle when it comes to rotating on defense. And then compile on top of that the inability to keep a man in front of you. So now you have bad fouls because you can't play straight up man-to-man defense. In the second half, I can't remember exactly when they went to it. I want to say it was right around the 6-minute mark. Don't quote me on that. But the Nuggets started trying the 2-3 zone, and it actually worked against them because they were blowing by even more. And so it's like no matter what the Nuggets try, it feels like it just has to be a compete level. It has to be a mentality. And I just don't think they have the mentality to defend right now. They have moments, but when it comes to putting it all together, man, that has to live from within. It has to say, my desire to not let my man beat me and to continue to make sure that I am executing defensively at a high level has to be the top priority. And there's nothing right now that says that the Nuggets even have a desire to make that a top priority.
KJ, I heard something when I was driving home from the station today. I was listening to the pregame with Kaz and Berto, and Kaz said something pretty interesting. I didn't know this, but the Nuggets had the best first quarter defense in the entire NBA last year. They gave up 26 points per game on average in the first quarter. Okay, number one. Do you know where they're ranked at is in first quarter defense this year?
28th.
They're dead last. So they went from the best first quarter defensive team in the NBA last year to the worst defensive first quarter team in the NBA this season. How the hell does that happen? I mean, other than KCP, they pretty much got all the same dudes out there.
Now,
what?
Now we're talking. Okay. Now let's get into it. So you say the only difference is KCP for Christian Brown. Agree on the surface. But if we go back to last year, KCP's prowess as a vet allowed them to play a different style of basketball. So it wasn't like it was running gun. It was whether we're running and gunning or we're running a half-court offense. KCP is such a threat from three that there were times where you have to choose, do I sag off KCP or do I sag off MPJ, right?
Right.
This year, everything is Well, we know Christian Brown is the best guard in the league, literally, when it comes to getting out on the fast break. And so the Nuggets want to play up tempo, which is why they're number one in first quarter points this season. But when you run the tempo that fast, Jokic, he already struggles with getting back on defense. So there's just this thing where the Nuggets, they struggle to get back on defense. And then even in moments where they don't score, there's always usually only 2 to 3 men back instead of all 5 committing to get back on the other side of the court. And the mentality this year has changed. So I think from a leadership perspective, man, we may have underestimated KCP.
Yeah, you could be right. And, obviously you don't have the leadership of Jokic right now. One of the guys in the comments did make an interesting point. Let me see if I can find it here. Let's see. Basically, here we go. Jay says, I don't understand how Dario Saric isn't playing these games without Jokic. I mean, I don't know about Dario, but at least DJ, that's because I've been kind of thinking about that too. That is interesting. So DJ had that stretch, KJ, where he played 25 games in a row or something like that. Which he was serviceable, I guess. I mean, he wasn't a negative on the team for the most part, I would say.
Right.
But that is really interesting with Nikola Jokic being out. I know Malone likes to have Aaron Gordon start as the de facto center when Joker's out, but fine, start him. That's okay. Why aren't they having DJ or another big come in to play the center position at various points throughout the game? That doesn't really make sense to me. I don't understand. And Malone's talked about before, sometimes it's matchup based, but dude, when you're getting crushed on the boards like tonight, might be a good idea to put, one of your other 7-footers in the game. Maybe try that.
I agree 1,000%, Dan. Here's the truth. The coaching staff is overthinking it. They're thinking right now, and this is a terrible place to be, and they won't admit it out loud, but it's the God's honest truth. They're thinking strategy for playoffs already, right? The coaching staff is. So I think they're trying to sit DJ for strategy purposes, while also trying to figure out, can Zeke Naji or AG be, an effective 5 in moments where in the playoffs DJ is not a good matchup. You know what I mean? DJ's a solid matchup against the Timberwolves, but I can't promise you DJ will be a great matchup against the Phoenix Suns, right? You know what I mean? And so it's just
yeah.
I just think strategically, I think the coaching staff, I think they're in their own head about it. They're overthinking it. It's just play the guy. I know you guys are trying to see what works for the playoffs, but just play the guy. You're going to play him in the playoffs. Just play him now.
Well, you might have to play him in the playoffs at some point. And dude, who knows? I mean, again, I'm knocking on wood here, but who knows how serious these injuries are to Nikola Jokic? This is the point where I don't think they need to necessarily sit Joker for the rest of the regular season. I don't know. Okay. I'll leave that up to the team doctors and trust them. But at this point, man, I'm kind of in the camp of sit Joker for the next 2 weeks. Okay. Get him as healthy as possible. Have him play the last 4 or 5 games of the regular season. So he can shake off the rust as they head into the playoffs. And like you said, get DJ in there. I mean, I get Dario Saric has been awful this year, and he has been when he's been in there. There's no doubt about that. So I do, from that perspective, kind of understand the coaching staff not wanting to play him. But at this point in the season, who cares? Again, especially in a game like tonight when you are getting whipped on the boards. How many offensive rebounds, second chance points did the Blazers have? Over 25, I think, tonight?
Yeah, they were getting close to 30 on second chance points.
It just baffled me that they wouldn't put a big in there. It's why not change it up? It's clearly what they had was not working. It doesn't make sense, man.
No, I agree 1,000%. I love Zeke Naji, but when it comes to rebounding and boxing out,
You love Zeke?
Well, listen, figuratively, I love Zeke.
All right. I was just checking.
Figuratively.
I'm sure he's a great dude. Okay, like I'm not trying to crap on the guy, but I'm just pissed off about him not diving on that loose ball, man. That really that's the kind of stuff that will really put a bad taste in a lot of fans' mouths, and a bad taste in the coaching staff's mouths and his teammates. To me, man, that's unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable for him to do that.
Well, all of it is what's gotten him in the doghouse with Malone. The lack of diving on balls, the lack of boxing out, right? The inability to be consistent offensively. Hastings talks about it all the time on the broadcast. He does this weird thing when he goes up and dunk where he does this double clutch move. And instead of just going straight up, he finds a way to get fouled on something that should be just a simple dunk. And it's he just does little things. It's just bro, for somebody who is as smart as you, for somebody who is as witty as you, somebody who has as high of a basketball IQ as you, to see the things that he does that could be easily avoided, it's mind-boggling. It's darn near flabbergasting. And I shouldn't be saying it about a guy who's a first-round draft pick.
I get it, man. It's frustrating. And again, especially for a guy that is really trying to put a stamp on himself getting into the rotation, potentially for the playoffs. Man, that's just the kind of stuff that
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question we haven't asked in a little while, man. How much do we miss DaRon Holmes right now?
Well, that's a great question. And, I was really excited when they drafted him. I watched some of his tape and he looks like a baller, man. But the thing is, I don't know. I have no idea because we haven't seen him play yet, Yeah. So we'll see. That'll be interesting to see what happens with that situation next year. It feels like that could potentially be DaRon Holmes, you're in, Zeke Naji, see you later kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, KJ, because that sucked when he got hurt in Summer League, torn Achilles. But I will say this for everybody listening. I've been watching when I'm at Nuggets games. I'll watch the pregame warmups of these guys. DaRon Holmes will be out there. He looks pretty good. He looks like he's coming along nicely. And I suspect that he will probably be ready at the start of next season. He might even play in Summer League a little bit this year. I mean, we'll see. I don't know. But
there was an article released, I want to say it was probably about a week and a half ago. He says that he's on track to play in Summer League. He may play in Summer League. I think health-wise, he'll be ready to go for Summer League. Yeah. I just wonder, will the coaching staff will they be leery or will they just let him play? I wonder more so about the coaching staff than I do DaRon. But he's on track to play in the in the Summer League according to him. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, KJ. What is your biggest concern right now with the Denver Nuggets as far as their ability to truly be competitive in the Western Conference playoffs? What's the biggest issue you see plaguing the Nuggets that could doom them in the playoffs? Because I have mine, but I'm curious to get your thoughts on that.
No, for sure. Well, I'll go with my top two, right? So
sure.
For me, number one is the non-Nikola Jokic minutes are still getting exposed without Nikola Jokic on the floor. It's bad enough that the offense sometimes becomes too Jokic dependent when he's on the floor. And even when he's not on the floor, when those 20 shots from Nikola Jokic aren't there, the only person that's eating into those 20 shots consistently is Russell Westbrook. And so it's a continued exposure of what has already been the biggest flaw of the Denver Nuggets. So that's number one for me.
Okay.
And then number two is we are at game, I want to say this is game 69 or game 70 for the Nuggets. And Malone still doesn't know who he can trust off the bench. That's huge for me. That is huge.
I agree. I will say luckily that's not going to be as big of an issue in the playoffs because the rotation shrink. Now, look, you're right in saying that because they still are going to need those reserves to come in and at least tread water, try to keep the game even. That's all I've said over the last couple of years because the Nuggets have struggled in the non-Jokic minutes. I'm not asking these guys to go out there and be world beaters. They don't need to be world beaters when they go out there. Just try to keep the score where Jokic left it when he comes back in the game.
Right.
Can they do that? But again, I agree with you that is an issue and it will be a thing in the playoffs. I don't think it'll be as important as the regular season because the rotations shrink, but that is an issue. For me right now, I don't know how in the world you can win an NBA championship playing the level of defense the Nuggets are playing this year. It's just, look, tonight's a perfect example of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like you mentioned, KJ, the blow-bys, the fouling after the blow-bys, it's March 21st. These are the kind of things that should be cleaned up by the All-Star break, in my opinion.
Right.
These are not the issues that we should be concerned about right now. The main things that we should, ideally be concerned about is just the health and rest of this basketball team at this point in the year. We shouldn't have to be worrying about does Malone have his rotation set for the non-Jokic minutes in the playoffs? I don't know. I mean, are we going to see Spencer Jones trotted out there in the playoffs? I kind of am joking, but by the way, that he had a really solid game in what was that, Golden State or Los Angeles? Golden State.
Yep.
Really solid game, and I'm happy for the kid, and that's great. And we'll see what his future holds with this team down the road. Who knows? That's got to be over for the rest of the year. I mean. I was surprised he got in tonight because Jamal's back.
I think it is. Contractually, I think it is because
if I remember
correctly, he's a two-way deal, so two-way players can't play in the playoffs anyway.
That's right. That's right. Yes. Okay. Well, good. And look, I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to dog on the kid. I'm not trying to dog on the kid. And look, I really, like I said this. I think it was after the Lakers game. It might have been Golden State, but I really actually like what he brings. He's got a funky looking jump shot. He's got to work on that because he's got a weird hitch at the top of his jumper. He's got to get that ironed out. And I do like the hustle. All of that is great. But you're not going to be winning games this year with Spencer Jones playing 15 or more minutes a night. That's just, and Gordon's back. Murray's back. I know Joker's not back. So I was a little bit surprised to see him get in there tonight. How many minutes did he play in this game? Let's see here. He played 6 minutes. He played 6 minutes. I mean, he was 0 of 2. Did hit both of his free throws. But yeah, I mean, I think he's got some legitimate potential. I like his size and athleticism and his hustle. He's got to work on that jumper, man. That is an ugly looking jump shot.
Well, here's what's frustrating me. Our broadcast team just keeps pumping his head up by telling us, oh, he's crushing it in the G League from 3. And I'm like, dude, when I look at that shot against NBA players, I'm like, dude, I don't want to hear nothing else about what he's doing in that G League from the 3-point line. I don't want to hear anything else about it because whatever shooting coach Jalen Pickett went to this past offseason, I need Jalen Pickett and Spencer Jones to go back to that shooting coach, and I need them to continue to do that work because
I think Pickett's improved. His jumper does look better.
It looks a lot better. And again, in the Lakers, they don't make that almost comeback without Jalen Pickett kind of going on a little bit of a flurry there from 3. So. You know, look, I respect it. He has a respectable NBA jump shot now. But now the next step for Jalen Pickett is to get quicker. And the next step for Spencer Jones is make him.
Yeah. Do you think Jalen Pickett plays in the playoffs? Do you think he gets into the rotation?
Yes, because there's going to be
foul
trouble. There's going to be foul trouble. And we haven't heard anything about Julian Strawley. When was the last time we got an update?
It's been a while. I mean, he's been out for a couple weeks now. They said it was about a month. So I would assume he's going to be ready to go for the playoffs.
I'm hoping.
I'm kind of at the point right now, like, and look, I love Julian. He's the only guy that the Nuggets have that's coming off the bench that has the potential to be a lights out shooter, which I love that. I mean, they need that off the bench desperately. So
Yeah.
I'm not advocating for Julian Strawther to just be out of the rotation in the playoffs because they do need his shooting ability off the bench, in my opinion. But I'm almost at the point where, like, I feel more comfortable with Jalen Pickett out there over Julian Strawther, man. I'm liking what I'm seeing from Jalen Pickett. And KJ, what I like most is, like you said, he has improved his jumper. He's been pretty good from the three-point line.
Mm-hmm.
But what I like most about Jalen Pickett is he has the ability to run the second unit offense. He is a true point guard.
Very much.
And I think that the Nuggets can run the offense they want to run with him in the game. I don't know if they can do it to the level that they can with Jalen Pickett if he's not in there, as far as just somebody that can orchestrate and run the offense.
No, I agree 1,000%. Jalen Pickett, as far as being a true lead guard, has done a fantastic job of setting guys up, making sure guys know where they need to be. He does a great job of making sure the play is executed. Like, he does all of the things that Malone needs him to do as a backup lead point guard who has the ability to first look for his teammates first and then score second, which I think it gives me he has the potential to be a more flashy Monte Morris. Which I think would be a great ceiling for Jalen.
I love Monte. Scott's compared him to Andre Miller.
That's probably a more accurate comparison. Oh, trust me, I remember he played forever.
The YMCA professional basketball players, what we used to call them here in Denver.
Yeah.
But look, if Andre Miller, I believe Andre's still coaching the Grand Rapids Gold, if I'm not mistaken, by the way. So that's, he coached Jalen Pickett down there, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Look, if Jalen Pickett can turn into Andre Miller, I mean, my God, that would be amazing. That would be phenomenal. Andre Miller is like a backup point guard. I mean, I know he started for years in Denver, but that would be a perfect ceiling, in my opinion, for Jalen Pickett to become an Andre Miller type of player.
No, agree 1,000%. And here's the truth. If I remember things correctly, let me put it this way: Brandon Roy doesn't become Brandon Roy in Portland without Andre Miller, and so
right.
Jalen,
and without a devastating knee injury too, that didn't help him.
All right, so you always want to go to negative town there, Dan.
It's just the truth. Did it happen or did it not happen, KJ?
It did happen, Dan. God.
Okay, thank you.
But no, in all seriousness, Jalen Pickett, he could definitely be an Andre Miller type. I can see that from him. But to go back to your original question, or your original statement, should I say? The truth is, Julian Strawther, he's a more advanced, and when I say advanced, mentally advanced Bones Highland. So
much more mentally advanced than Bones Highland. Much more mature.
I'm trying to be nice here.
Yeah.
So
I won't be.
So with that being the case, I think he'll always be on the floor in the playoffs just because of his streaky nature. Now, if you're asking me which guy has a shorter leash in the playoffs between Jalen Pickett and Julian Strawther, it's Julian Strawther, and it's not even close.
Really? You think so? Julian has a shorter leash than Jalen Pickett would in the playoffs, huh? We'll have to think about that.
What? Okay.
Interesting.
Here's the thing. What's the one thing what was your number one thing that concerns you going into the playoffs that you just said?
I'm sorry, say that again. You broke up.
No, you're good. I said, what was your number one thing that you said the Nuggets struggle with going into the playoffs?
Defense.
That's the one thing Jalen Pickett for sure plays. If he can't do anything else on the court, that Joker can play some defense.
Yeah.
So with that being the case, and I love Julian Strawther, but he's better in the passing lanes than he is as a one-on-one defender.
Yeah, that's a good point. But again, I would say that the bench, they need somebody that can come in there and light it up from beyond the arc because he's really the only one that can do it. You know what I'm saying? Like he's it off the bench.
I mean, when he's hot, but when he's not, he's not.
Right.
And the Nuggets have dealt with their fair share of not this season. Not just from him, from a lot of players.
Look at what's going on with Michael Porter Jr. right now. I mean, he looks like a shell of himself.
Don't even get me started with that guy. Like, I'm so sick of him, man. I'm sick of his.
Let's hear it. Hey, man, I was just criticizing him before you came on.
Like, dude, I'm being honest. I'm sick of his crap, man, because it's like.
I think a lot of Nuggets fans are sick of it.
Dude, and listen, I have a bold proclamation, but I've got to wait until we do whatever the last game is going to be in the playoffs. I got to wait to hold it. I got a bold proclamation about MPJ, and I can't wait to release it.
Does it involve trading him?
Of course. But here's my thing with MPJ. It's just like I'm dealing with a toddler right now. Like, you don't know when they wake up if they're going to be good today or if they're going to take a crayon and just start drawing on the walls. Like, I just don't know, man. I don't know, and it drives me crazy. And it's like, listen, I don't want to have to check and make sure that you've had your bottle today and that you've had your diaper changed. We're too old for that, man. Like, at some point, bro, you got to get consistent, man. Like, the man in you, bro, the alpha in you has to stand up and say, dude, if nobody else is going to do it, I am going to do it. These moments are specifically designed for Michael Porter Jr. to step up. What did Michael Porter Jr. end with in the Lakers game? If I remember correctly, I don't even think it was 10 shots. And then tonight, I think if I remember correctly, it was only 10 shots.
It was 10. Jamal had 10 also.
And so it's just like, look, man, like, I love you, bro. I love your heart, bro. You want everybody to shine, man, but you're not getting assists off of everybody else shining. If you were getting assists, I'd be quiet, but you're not getting assists, nor are you being aggressive. And it's just like, I can't have both living in the same realm from you, bro. I need something from you, man, because otherwise you just hold no space, man. You just hold no space.
That was beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful rant there from our guy, KJ Granderson. Look, man, I mean, you're not wrong. And this is something we've been talking about this year. I've been talking about this for several years. Michael Porter Jr. really, you could say maybe Jamal Murray as well. And look, Jamal's kind of in the same boat right now too, man, unfortunately. Now, The difference for me is I think that Jamal definitely has the ability to break out of funks much easier than Michael Porter Jr. does. But look, man, if this is the version of Michael Porter Jr. the Nuggets are going to get heading into the playoffs, in the playoffs, they have no shot.
None. God
But
forbid they run up against the Timberwolves, which is the team that absolutely makes him go in the cave and hide.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Porter Jr. He's really at a crossroads in his time here in Denver, in my opinion. And by crossroads, I mean, if he doesn't perform well in the playoffs, they're going to need to make some changes. I really think that will be the case.
Yeah.
But look, here's the thing. If the Nuggets get the version of Michael Porter Jr., who scored 30 or more points in 3 straight games right before the All-Star break, right before he hurt his hamstring, then this team absolutely has a shot. Now, this is all with the caveat of Jamal Murray being Jamal Murray in the playoffs, which I think he will be. And Nicola's going to be Nicola as long as he's healthy and rested and ready to go. But it really, for me, KJ, it really does come down to, is Michael Porter Jr. being productive on the offensive end or not? And is he helping the team out in other areas? And really, the only other area that I expect Michael Porter Jr. to consistently help out with is rebounding. And he had 5 rebounds tonight. This dude should be averaging 10 rebounds a game. So I'm with you, man. Like, it's simply not good enough for Michael Porter Jr. He's got to be more productive. I think he's lost his confidence. Over the last couple of weeks, there have been so many open shots that he has hesitated on. It's not a good sign to me. So,
No.
and again, I get Jamal was out the last couple of games. He's a warrior. I'm really not that concerned with Jamal Murray because for whatever reason, he just has the ability to turn it on in the playoffs, even if he is struggling in the regular season. Hopefully that's the case again this year, but he does have that ability. All right, KJ, before we get out of here, speaking of Jamal Murray, I believe it's Scott caught up with Jamal in the locker room after the Nuggets lost to the Trailblazers. Let's take a listen to that.
What kind of went south for you guys in the second half? Sometimes we have to just ask questions.
I know. Well, a few things, man. A lot of things. I think just their hustle and energy on the boards. I think first and foremost, if we can play good defense and they keep getting opportunities and second chance and third chances to put the ball in the hoop, then it's gonna be a long night, especially on the road. So I just think we got to come out, more prepared to play against teams that have a lot of energy. I think anybody knows this when when a team is missing guys, the next man up mentality is real. The guys are coming in to play, guys are playing for minutes, playing for spots, and playing hard. So I think we just got to be ready to play against that kind of energy. So we don't think we did a good job tonight, and like I said, we're gonna have to bounce back in the next game.
Coach Carl wants to talk about rebounding out of your zone. What does that look like for a team that's kind of struggled giving offensive rebounds up to be able to rebound out of your zone?
Just hitting guys and hitting the first. We're getting caught ball watching, and maybe some unlucky bounces, but none of that would happen. We just go hit a body and go get the board as a group. So I think we're trying to move on throughout the possession a little bit too much, leaking out or gambling or just, we're always putting ourselves at a disadvantage. So I think if we just be a little bit more disciplined, I think we come away with a dub tonight.
11 games left. Feel you got time to get this thing back right and get back playing the way you guys know you can?
I mean, in my mind, that's what the first 71 are for. It's
a good answer.
We got to be ready. You can't have these lapses, and then when we do, we got to make sure that we're bouncing back and staying, mindful of them. So, well, this wasn't us tonight. We'll be better next time.
Wow. Interesting there. Good question from Scott. It's kind of what we've been talking about, KJ. Are these last, what did you say, 11 games remaining? Mm-hmm. Is that enough time for you guys to right the ship? Did that sound like a confident answer from Jamal Murray to you? It sure as hell didn't sound very optimistic in my ears.
No, absolutely not. It didn't sound. It did. Not only did it not sound.
He said that's the first 71 games are for. Wow.
That's what I'm saying. And then first off, before we crush him for that, let's go back to how the interview started. Scott just answers a simple question. Hey, what do you think? And he gives him a look like
the stink eye, the patented Jamal stink eye.
Right. And I'm like, bro.
Good for Scott, man. He's like, it's our job to ask questions. And then Jamal sort of softened up there a bit. He's like, yeah, I know. Okay. Good for Scott. That was.
No, big time. I mean, Scott's a professional. So, when it comes to that kind of stuff, I'm not worried about Scott. But, I mean, look, he said it. He hit the nail on the head. I mean, he didn't say anything wrong. They did have the first 71 games to get this ship righted. And they haven't thus far. So, here's the truth. The Nuggets players know it. I think the coaches won't say it, but they know it. This isn't a championship team right now. And I'm going to stand by that. I hope to be wrong. KJ raises his right hand. He hopes to be wrong, but I don't believe that I will be.
You don't think this is a championship level team if Joker is, as close to 100% healthy as he possibly can be and rested going into the playoffs? If Jamal starts to get hot towards the end of the season and carries that into the postseason, and if MPJ can, get out of whatever funk he's been in over the last couple of weeks.
Listen, Dan. Listen to everything you're asking.
I'm just asking the question. I'm not even saying I would agree with it. I'm just curious.
I'm just telling you, Dan. Like at the end of the day, man. Like
a lot of stuff has to go right. A lot.
That's the problem. You're asking things to go right for a team who can't get out of their own way. They can't get out of their own way. So we're asking things to be perfect when on a daily basis they can't get out of their own way. It's just like, to me that's a double conundrum there. But nonetheless, whatever, yeah, I'm just frustrated with. I'm frustrated with them. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's this constant waiting of the switch to flip, and I just can't stand this team thinking like that. That's entitlement to me, man. This team has become entitled, and I stand on that, man. I said it before, and I'm gonna keep saying it until they prove me wrong. This team operates from a place of entitlement. Wow. They don't operate from a place of like hunger. They don't operate from a place of like desire. This is like, okay, well, we know when we get there, we'll be just fine, guys. Just calm your little nerves. Like, take those nerves and pack them away and ship them down the river. I'm like, no, I can't do that, buddy.
This team remembers that they blew a 20-point lead in the second half in Game 7 at home in the playoffs last year, right?
I mean, they do know that they lost 3 of their 4 home games to the Timberwolves, and they have not beat them at all this season, right?
Right. So where is these I will say I don't think it's Joker.
I don't know.
I don't think Joker has the feeling of like entitlement. But a lot of, and Aaron Gordon too, actually. Those two guys.
Yeah.
If we're being honest, KJ, at least of the main guys, that's coming from, it sure is coming a lot from Jamal Murray, man.
Yeah. It's just the truth, man. Like, look, we can walk around with this like high and mighty attitude.
Holier than thou.
Holier than thou. We can do all that. We can play this little game if you want to. But all I know is if the Nuggets get bounced in the second round again, do you know what the national pundits are going to do to Jamal Murray? They're not worried about Nikola Jokic because they know Nikola Jokic is about to be the first center in NBA history since Wilt Chamberlain to average a triple-double for an entire season.
Yeah.
So they're not worried about Nikola Jokic. What they're worried about is, gosh, man, there's supposed to be some guy who runs this 2-man game with him at the end of games. We just haven't seen him. We can't find him. And yet he comes to post-game press conferences and he talks down to the media as if they're a piece of, breadcrumb on the floor. And it's just like, you can't have it both ways. So listen, the pressure's on Jamal as far as how much the success of the Nuggets playoff run. Mm-hmm. But I think at the end of the day, what it all boils down to is who is going to break the mold of entitlement. Who's going to say the thing that needs to be said in that locker room and say, if we walk into these playoffs with our chins higher than they should be, you're setting yourself up to get your head knocked off of your shoulders, potentially in the first round.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see, man. Look, this is just this team is such an enigma. Like one night we're like, holy cow, like maybe they can win the championship this year. And then the next night it's like, I don't think they can win the championship this year. You know what I'm saying?
And then there were nights against the Lakers where you're like, you sure this team isn't a play-in team? Like,
right. Yeah. Exactly. All right, KJ. Well, we'll end it there. Good stuff, man. Appreciate you jumping on. We've got Nuggets and Rockets coming up on Sunday. That's a 5 p.m. game, 4:30 start with pregame with Berto and Kaz there on 92.5. You think Joker plays? I hope he doesn't. I hope he doesn't.
I don't think so. I think they have, committed to the fact that the Nuggets, starting with the Lakers game, are getting ready to go into. They're in the midst of a 5 games in 7 days stretch here, so I think they've committed. Just don't play them.
Yeah, and then they've got a back-to-back the following night in Denver against the Chicago Bulls. So we'll see. We'll see what happens on Sunday in Houston. KJ, you're the best, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Just want to say one last thing, man.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No rest for the weary. That's all I gotta say.
Except for Joker. Give him as much rest as you possibly can.
That is true. That is true.
All right, KJ, you're the best. Thanks, man.
Appreciate you, dude.
See you, buddy. All right, there he goes. Our guy, KJ Granderson. Good stuff from KJ tonight, man. He's pissed. I don't blame him. And, Nuggets fans, I get the frustration. Like I said, this team is such an enigma. Like, who are the Denver Nuggets? I've been asking this question a lot all season long. And, I really just don't think we're going to get the answer to that question until the playoffs come around. I really do think that's what it comes down to. But that's going to do it for the post-game show tonight, everybody. Really appreciate you listening. Again, the Nuggets fall to the Blazers 128-109. They blow a 5-point halftime lead and fall down to 4th, I believe. Yeah, 4th in the Western Conference. They're a game up on Memphis. They're tied as far as games back go with the Lakers, but the Lakers do have the tiebreaker there. And the Rockets got a win over the Heat tonight. So they're now 2 full games ahead of the Lakers and the Nuggets. So this game on Sunday is going to be very consequential as far as the Western Conference standings go. But that's going to do it for the post-game show tonight. Thank you so much for listening to In the Paint right here on Altitude Sports Radio.